What's up, Hyperfast Nation? On this episode of the show, we had a very special guest who started off on a real estate team, had success there, went out on her own, had success as a solo agent, and now has built a team of 10, selling hundreds of homes a year. Welcome to the show, Dani Hampton. All right, welcome to the show today, Dani. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Excited to chat with you. I'll let you give your introduction, but I just think there's so much to talk about with the market we're in. And I always love bringing on team leaders like yourself, and can't wait to look forward to your insights and the lessons you have for our viewers today. Before we jump into some of that, though, why don't you give our folks a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you are today, leading a big team like you're doing.
Okay. So my name's Dani Hampton. I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. I got into real estate when I was 22 years old. So that is now 11 years ago. I got into real estate just wanting a job that I didn't have to go to college for. And because I was sitting there thinking, I already have to worry about my husband's college bill that he needs to pay. I do not want to add any more debt to us. So we actually had purchased our very first home when we were 19 years old, when I was 19 years old. And so I ended up going through my own real estate experiences, and then that led me to getting my real estate license. Fortunately, because I was so young, I didn't have a lot of confidence of building my own business, so I actually started on real estate teams. So I actually worked through two high-producing real estate teams, and after 4 years, finally built up that confidence to go out on my own. I ended up selling over 50 homes in 1 year by myself, and I was a new mom. I only had my daughter, I think, was just under 2 years old. And
Wow.
yeah, so we quickly learned that I needed to have someone else help me. And I ended up kind of naturally just growing a team without truly preparing for a real estate team. And that is now my story of the last 6 years of failing forward in developing as a leader and growing a business and truly having a business that can, survive with or without me. And also to be able to have a business that can support other real estate agents.
What was it like making the jump from team to being out on your own? Can you walk us through kind of the fear, emotions, or how it went?
Sure. What led me to that was I had looked at my business and I was trying to understand exactly what I was looking for from my real estate team. Was it me just wanting an office space, or was it just me needing that additional accountability or camaraderie of talking to other agents and feeling like we're in something together? And I think when I started realizing that I wasn't gaining anything anymore when I was in that environment and going to that space, I started to just naturally market myself. And when I started to market myself, I was like, maybe I should go off on my own. And I had a really good sit down with the team leader. He was also the broker. And we talked through it, and I showed him all of my numbers. I had a feeling he was going to make me show him my numbers. So I showed him how many houses I sold that I self-generated the leads from, and was like, yeah.
What was the percentage there between team leads and your own deals? Do you remember?
So I had produced 28 my own, and I closed only 12 from team leads.
Oh yeah, wow, yeah, you you were definitely ready.
And so, yeah, I went off on my own. And the one, I will say the best advice he gave me was, he's like, just make sure that you have a transaction coordinator. He's like, please make sure that you have a transaction coordinator for someone who obviously thrives in that agent role and being in front of people. The administrative side, it's never shown to be very strong on any of my personality assessments. So I had a
It's
te-
true
I
for
did
most
hire.
most great salespeople too. By the way, like they're
Yeah,
not going to be
absolutely,
good at that part of it. So
absolutely. Well, so and I had a TC that year, and I think in the moment, I will say, like, I knew when I walked into that, like, I was super excited. I had that new energy of like, this is my business, this is my name, that kind of energy. Um, I knew the one thing I wanted to do to make me feel more complete was creating a logo. And I got I got a logo created that I wanted to be able to know that if I ripped my name away, that it would be able to stand alone and someone would recognize it. And so um, have been very successful with that logo. I have tweaked it a little bit, but that logo now is plastered across my Jeep Wrangler.
oh, cool.
I know. I'm like, I feel like I should like show you what my Jeep looks like right now.
Well, how long did the like, hey, this is new and I'm energized by it and excited to be on my own, like how long did that kind of last, and then maybe it wore off, or you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of a lot of work to be done, or did you kind of have a shift over time? oh,
That's the
cool. I
Wrangler.
like that.
Thank you. So I honestly think that when I was in that year, it was very exciting. Like I go back and I look back at my social media because I did a lot of my generating of leads through social media, and that was probably before, because this was 2017. So this was before, TikTok became a really big thing, and even Instagram, I don't feel like was that big at that moment. I felt like Facebook was where we were, and so I did a lot of. I was just more exciting to feel more in control of what I was doing, and knowing that if I was to do something, so even if I was a fail, it's on me versus feeling that sense of not being in control because I understand, being on an agent on a team where you're like, you're not the one making the decisions. And I shared this with others. That I was like, I don't know if I would have actually stayed on teams longer if I felt like I was a part of decisions. Because I
right.
think that if I felt like I had some type of contribution and being able to influence anything, I may have not seeked to go on my own because I did value the team environment. So I know the one thing when you were asking about the energy, I think I put a lot of focus into that new energy and just being excited of creating a name and a business. Um, but I did lack that sense of community. Like it was all on me. So in that moment, it was like there was no high fives. Like I just got a listing, high five. Like there was
Right.
none of that. So I think, and every individual agent, you can still hang out with them and powwow with them, but your business is not their business is not yours. So I kind of feel like since there's no equal skin in the game, that's where there is that little bit of a lack of like the hoorah. And now going into the team leader seat and having a team, I'm like, that's, I think the exciting part is that there's equal skin in the game and we're both contributing and we're both excited when each other wins. And so I feel like it's nice to be a part of something.
Did your feelings of, you know, wanting more influence while you were a team member, did has that guided you or informed how you've structured the team and built it with your agents today in terms of giving them some of that ability to influence the direction of the team?
Yeah. So definitely, this is a continual story. I am still working on how I can help someone on the team have influence. I know that I've struggled with building of my real estate team a couple of years ago. I would say that I unfortunately built up a culture of entitlement, and it didn't feel like a win-win anymore. It felt like all I was doing was working to give. And again, I don't think I even set proper expectations and standards. And so anyways, at the end of the day, that was my failure. So I've always been very resistant on, giving someone that opportunity to contribute or influence any kind of decisions, because I don't want to create that. I don't want to create any entitlement if I can, protect the culture. So now I know that for me, people do want to feel like a part of something. I've learned a lot about just psychology and the human emotions. So I'm like, I know that we all just want to feel like we can contribute in our own special way. So I always look for opportunities on the team now that my agents can, feel like they can contribute and be a part of something. And I know like my agents on the team who have more artistic skills. So like I'll usually ask them to help me with certain marketing pieces.
Gotcha.
To give an example.
What was the timeline for when you started to build the team? I think based on what you said earlier, the transaction coordinator or assistant was your first hire. Did you do that after the year where you sold 50 units on your own, or did you do it up front?
So I did it immediately. I hired a per file transaction coordinator. So I knew that in that moment I wasn't committing to a salary. I was just a per transaction flat fee. But I did know I wanted someone who was just mine. I knew that there was transaction coordinators who helped multiple agents. I was fortunate enough to come across someone who was actually a realtor who just wanted to work from home and not go, sell homes anymore. So for her, it was like a win-win that we could have that profile. She knew my track record, and in that moment, it was just like, okay, we're gonna both learn together, because she just wanted something that was gonna allow her to stay at home. So that was 2017. 2018 is when I hired my first buyer's agent.
Okay, and then now fast forward, or take us through like the build
Yeah,
process of how you got from there, one agent to today. I think you said your team is around
at,
10 or so.
at 10, yep. So 2018, I had it was me, a TC, and my first buyer's agent. And then 2019, I had hired my husband. So my husband actually ended up joining me in business. And we had gone through a big life hurdle with our daughter being born with a heart condition. And just fast forward, she's all good now. But we needed someone home all the time, so we actually ended up taking him out of corporate America and saying, all right, what can you do on the administrative side? So he took over being kind of like more of that director of operations, because since I'm not an administrative type person, I was always struggling to manage someone who was in that transaction coordinator seat, because I was always trying my best to be a real estate agent, but also trying to manage that role was always a struggle. So he needed to be my business brains. And so he took over the business side of, especially with like our technology. I operated without a CRM for way too long. And so I always tried to make sure everyone knows to please Just believe in the CRM, any CRM. Just believe in
Right.
it. So my husband helped me with that. And I mean, since then, I would probably just say it's been a failing forward of finding the right person for the transaction coordinator seat, for that transaction coordinator, listing manager. I still have that as a combo role. And I have hired several agents, obviously gone on and off with agents on the team. I've actually now gone to a position where I don't want to classify an agent anymore. So I have all my agents on the team have the ability to list homes as long as they have shown the qualifications for it. So now we are 8 agents, including me, and then my husband and my transaction coordinator, Sherry.
How was it, going through, you kind of went through 2 unique periods as you were building the team. One was, the low interest rates and COVID demand and all of that, and like kind of the ramp up of, I think we went from like 4.7 million home sales a year to over 6 million in 2021. And then now we've sharply reversed course and are at around 4 million. So a lot has happened, kind of as you were building your team. The industry built up, then it came down in terms of number of transactions. And, that historically is the band of deals that are out there in the U.S., 4 to 7 million, but it ramped up from to the high side, now back down to the low side. And what was that like as a team leader?
I feel like that you got to see how much the market influences your team. So I feel like, it's one thing to feel like you have a thriving team. Well, when the market's thriving, then I think it tends to feel a little easier to have a thriving business and a thriving team if the market's doing well. And then the second that market doesn't do, market's not going in your favor, and now we actually have to work hard to, get deals. I feel like that really showed some true colors in our business. And so I think it's been kind of a learning curve for us, because even when I saw our interest rates go up to 5% back in 2017, 2017, 2018 is I think when we started seeing the higher 4s and the upper
Right.
almost the 5s. And I remember then everybody acting like it was like the end. And I know, now we laugh. So I started the team then, and when everything got better, that's when my team got bigger. And so I had more agents join the team, and I had more admin roles. So I actually had like additional assistants. I had my own showing assistant I paid a salary for. I had hired a sales manager. So there was a lot of I was building up the team because the market was doing well. So our real estate business was doing well. And then the second the business, the market wasn't doing well anymore, all of a sudden I had to clean house and started removing roles and putting responsibilities back on the agents, and setting those expectations and standards, and just understanding that lead generation is a part of our business. Like, it's not just lead follow-up and go sell a house. It's lead generation is number one. Like, that's every agent needs it to survive.
Well, between that and the those market trends, it getting tougher to get inventory, buyers more reluctant because of the rates, and then now the NAR settlement, the NAR settlement. We talked a little bit about before the show about kind of your role as almost like a mental health coach for your agents, and we probably all need that in the industry right now. So walk us through a little bit about how you see yourself in that role, and what you do to get your agents in the right mindset to to make it through this market?
Right. I think it's honestly a lot of the coaching I'm personally going through. So I'm wanting to make sure that I pay it forward. Um, I experienced such a big crash happened for my own like personal mental health. From in 2020, we sold 147 homes, and my business wasn't built for 147 homes. And so I, didn't have any kind of balance in my life. And I am a mom of two kids, and I'm obviously married to my business partner. So there was a lot of like my relationships weren't doing well, and my, day-to-day life, I wasn't filling up my cup before I started pouring into others' cups. And so as a leader, like me just learning how to take care of myself and, having that, finding the best balance for my life with building a business like a real estate team, and just trying to be present in my own personal life. I now have taken those lessons that I'm still working on and continuing to grow through. But now I'm actually starting to make sure that I pay attention to my agents because I've been in their seat. I want to feel like I'm a very aware leader in knowing that I know how it feels to be someone, trying to sell more houses, trying to find that financial security, and but also a majority of my agents have families, and so I want to not feel like I'm completely unaware that they also want to just be better spouses and parents. So I do my best. I wouldn't say I'm great, but I do my best at making sure that I pay attention to the emotions and the schedules, and if I feel like someone just needs to have a lunch or a one-on-one, or even just maybe a quick text message to know that, like, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Um, I will say this is what I'm going through right now, is I'm working on being a team lead that it's not only just trying to take my agents away. I'm not trying to take my agents away from their families. I want them to like be able to give back to their families, like they are building this type of financial security so they can be more present parents, because we all have friends who work these jobs that take them away from their families for 10 to 12 hours. So how great for us that we live in a world that we can have a role where we can pick up our kids every day from school. So I have put it out there that I want to have my team not just do team building, but also like family building. And so instead of us just going team building, like go have a happy hour, I rather be able to go, have a barbecue with my team's families. So we all have kids. They're usually all within 5 to 10 years of each other, but they usually all play well together. So it takes away that parent guilt, and it makes them feel like they're a part of something.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's important. More so than when the market was like super hot. Like people just need to know that they have that community and support from not just you, but all the other team members that you help bring together.
Yep, exactly. And I feel like that if I always try to consider, like when I was on another team, when I was on the other real estate teams, what I enjoyed. And there was a few times that we had gotten our families together, and it was before I became a parent, but I still like just knowing someone's sister or whatever, like I felt more connected. So I was like, okay, I think we just need to find that connection piece instead of feeling like I'm just stamping this logo on somebody and being like, you need to believe in what you work for, and yet we're not doing anything to pour into your family life. So I had done a yoga night for my agents. I had asked them to invite their friends, and I had at that moment I had a lot of female agents on my team, So unfortunately, none of the guys wanted to show up, but I can see why they didn't want to. But we had a yoga night and we did meditation, and just knowing that that was something that all of them very much enjoyed, that they felt like it was an opportunity for them to connect with their friends, but they got to do it together, and they also did something that was like just good for them. Felt great. So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta keep doing things like this.
What changes have you made, if any, over the last 2 years in lead gen and how you get your agents in front of leads, or get them to get in front of leads?
Yeah. So last 2 years, I actually started to implement online leads. I didn't do online leads before, so what led me to 147 transactions was literally just my social media presence, and building my sphere. And then as far as supporting a larger team, I knew that I needed to get online leads, and I also needed to fill the gap for the referrals that was possibly going to drop off because of the harder market. So we had started getting introduced to online leads and knowing how to funnel those and convert those. And that's been a journey this last 2 years. And I will say even though we've gotten better at learning what lead sources are better lead sources and what's the best way to get them into our database and nurture them, I honestly I feel very strongly about my community presence. And I honestly think that is starting to be more of my lead generator. I just never put all of my focus into it. So now for my team, my new focus is being able to build that community. So it's not just within my team, as I was sharing about like trying to be more involved with my team's families. I'm actually wanting to build more community around the hyper local spot that we are, and be able to do things for our neighbors and be able to invite our friends from church, and just really growing that sphere presence, because they want to come to our events.
Well, I think as any team grows, you have to continue to adapt and add lead sources, and what worked with 4 agents might not be enough for 10. So getting a diversification of lead sources is good, just to get more leads in the door, but also to diversify it in case one of those streams changes, right? Which is definitely happening.
Yeah,
Right?
I
Technologies
absolutely
change.
I absolutely believe that I have to have multiples. I did realize when I had a very slim choice of leads and a majority of them coming from me, that's when my business really struggled. And so now I'm like, okay, I definitely believe in the online source, because we all experience advertisements. So it's not like, the person, Bob Smith, looking for a house online is completely cold. He was looking online, and he was on the website, and he's clicking through houses, and it's just more of that you're getting an opportunity to get in front of that person. So coaching on that and teaching that has been a very interesting journey, just because I know we've had multiple people converted from being an online lead, and guess what? They're human. Like, they're just like us.
Yep.
They
Pick up
just
the
you were
phone,
the right
call them.
you're there at the right time in the right place.
Well, I love the story of starting off on a team, because I think for a lot of agents that's highly beneficial and the best thing they can do. But then also, the example you set to others of how it's possible to branch out, go
Mhm.
build your own team, and so I love your story. We always end with a hyper fast round, or usually we do. So I have just a couple
Okay.
quick rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
What's your biggest piece of advice to a new agent in this market?
Building great habits. They just to have that momentum of building great daily habits that is always going to be money generating habits.
What's the biggest mistake you see experienced agents making?
Um, Probably being too relaxed on their schedules, like they're
Hmm.
zero time blocking.
Love that. So what's the biggest challenge you've had in real estate, and what did you learn for it, or how did you overcome it?
Um, I feel like just lack of preparation in real estate when it comes to like a listing appointment that maybe I didn't know the neighborhood well enough or I didn't study the neighborhood or the area enough. And just that lack of preparation, I feel like I've gotten my butt kicked way too many
Hmm.
times in appointments. And even 11 years in, I can still see how I have let my talent get me through things versus skills where I could probably prepare better and really nail it and probably make my business bigger if I actually applied some more skills and preparation into things.
All right, if you had to start all over, you moved to a new town where no one knew your name, you couldn't take any of your past stats or reputation with you, couldn't take any agents with you, couldn't didn't have any money. How would you go build in a new area, starting from scratch?
Yeah, I think starting from scratch, I absolutely believe in the real estate team. So I think that I would go and find who has influence in the area. I obviously would want to be aligned with that person in values and their vision, but I would probably just go join them. Something I've actually expressed to many agents before is that I probably made more money being a team agent than being the team owner. And so I feel like I took that
That's
position for
fascinating.
granted. Yeah, I think I took that position for granted. I didn't have all those marketing expenses and I didn't know all the tax saving tips and things like that.
Hmm.
So I would probably just go join a influential real estate team and see how I can contribute and help them build their vision.
All right, last one. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I see myself probably traveling across country, teaching everybody else what I've learned in real estate. I don't know if I will build real estate teams across the U.S. I would love to have a very strong and profitable real estate team here, but I also see myself being in a handful of other businesses and hopefully having an influence that brings me across the US so I can travel with my kids.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. If people want to connect with you or learn more about your team or areas you serve or any of that, or like how should they connect with you?
All right, I am best on Instagram, so I am now the Instagram real estate agent. You can find me at the Dani Hampton on Instagram. You'll see my real estate team on my own personal Instagram, but at the Dani Hampton, you're gonna get a more unfiltered version of me. But I feel like that's what everybody wants.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And to all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in. Please share this episode and leave us some comments and get it in front of more people that can learn from Danny's lessons. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.